of conflicts. We are concerned that global financial and payment systems are increasingly being used as instruments of geopolitical contestation. Global economic recovery relies on predictable global payment systems and the smooth operating of banking, supply chains, trade, tourism, as well as financial flows. We will continue discussions on practical measures to facilitate trade and investment flows through the increased use of local currencies. This is a matter we believe that further discussions need to take place, particularly amongst our finance ministers. The world is changing. New economic, political, social, and technological realities for greater cooperation between nations is essential. New realities call for a fundamental reform of the institutions of global governance so that they may be more representative and better able to respond to the challenges that confront humanity. While many believe that we should advance the interests of all people, we believe that yes, as we advance them, the interests of the global South, that we as BRICS want to be ready to advance are essential, and in this regard, we want to collaborate more, to cooperate more with all countries that aspire to create a more inclusive international order. We are confident that this 15th BRICS Summit will advance the cause of common prosperity and progress. We are confident that this 15th BRICS Summit will in the end enrich and inspire our
Our resources should not be exploited for the benefit of few, but valued and placed to service all, and above all, for the well-being of the local populations. And more than that, so that the promises that were already done by the rich countries should be fulfilled, climate financing and biodiversity should be truly new and additional in relationship to the traditional financing to development. We need an international financial system that, instead of feeding the inequalities, should help the medium and low income countries to implement structural changes. This will only happen with an adequate representation of the Bretton Woods institutions and their climatic funds. Foreign indebtedness refrains sustainable development. It's inadmissible that the developing countries should be penalized with interest rates that are 8 times higher than the ones that are charged in the rich countries. It is necessary to increase liquidity, to enhance concessional financing, and last but not the least, the conditionalities. The trade multilateral system should be reactivated so it can come back and act as a tool for fair trade, predictable, equitable, and non-discriminatory. No one anymore remembers the development round of the WTO. The decarbonization of our economies should be followed by the job creation with dignity, industrialization, and green infrastructure and public services for all. Through the new development bank, we can offer our own alternatives for adequate financing that will attend or meet the needs of the global South. I'm sure that under the leadership of my sister Dilma Rousseff, the bank will manage to face these challenges. The creation of a common valid unit for our trade transactions and investments for the BRICS countries will increase our payment options and reduce our vulnerabilities. Presidents, today and guests, today the BRICS are fully consolidated as a brand and as a political asset of strategic value. The participation of dozens of heads of government and state tomorrow in the enhanced session will represent an historical landmark. The interest of many countries to join the BRICS is the recognition of its growing relevance. And also, we will have a troika at the G20 as members of the BRICS in the period 2023. And so it's another opportunity for us to make advancement of the concerns of the global South with the inequalities and with sustainable development. That the momentum that motivated the creation of BRICS 15 years ago continue to inspire us in building a multipolar, fair, and inclusive international order. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President Lula da Silva, for taking us down memory lane, particularly in relation to the composition of the BRICS family. You relate to us how, for instance, South Africa attended as a candidate member and thereafter was added to BRICS as a member, and that in itself strengthened the BRICS family. We once again stand at another momentous moment when more than 20 other countries are seeking to be part of the BRICS family. And I know that as BRICS leaders, you are discussing this matter and giving close attention to it. And you will need to make your decisions known. Your commitment to contribute to achieving a peaceful world, something that is appreciated, and your other views that you expressed are also most appreciated. The empowerment of women is something that has a great deal of resonance with most of us here, as are your views on climate change and how the resources of various countries should be used for the benefit of all. So thank you very much for your remarks in that regard. It is now my pleasure to ask President Vladimir Putin to have his moment to speak. He'll be participating through the virtual platform.
Thanks a lot. President Ramaphosa, distinguished President, distinguished Prime Minister Modi, President Xi, dear colleagues, at the outset, I would like to thank South African friends for what they have done during their presidency, during their chairmanship this year. The colleagues before me have already given positive assessment of the BRICS activities. And in general, certainly we share these assessments. Our group of 5 countries has rightly proved to be a credible entity on the global arena with ever-growing influence in global affairs. The strategic course of BRICS is aimed at the future, and it meets the aspirations of the main part of the international community, the so-called global majority. By acting in concert on the principles of equality, partnership, support, and account for each other's interests, we deal with the most pressing issues of global and regional agenda. The main important thing is that BRICS stands for a multipolar world order that is equitable and built on international law and the principles of the United Nations Charter, including respect for the right of every people to its own development path. Some countries promote their hegemony, exceptionality, and their policy of the ongoing colonialism and neocolonialism. I would like to note that the aspiration to preserve their hegemony in the world led to a dire crisis in Ukraine. At first, with the help of Western countries, an anti-constitutional coup d'etat was carried out in this country. After that, those people who did not agree with this coup faced a war. A war was unleashed against them, a war of attrition, and it lasted for 8 years. Russia decided to support people that fight for their culture, for their traditions, for their language and their future. Our actions in Ukraine are guided by only one thing: to put an end to the war that was unleashed by the West against people in Donbass. We thank our colleagues within BRICS that take an active part in the attempts to put an end to this situation and to ensure just settlement by peaceful means. Dear colleagues, the main thing is that we unanimously stand for the shaping of the multipolar world order, which is genuinely equitable and which is building on international law. The BRICS countries are building up their potential. As was said, the BRICS countries are home to over 3 billion persons, and their share in global GDP as per purchasing power parity of the so-called G7. Over the past decades, BRICS investment to global economy have doubled, and the cumulative export reached 20% of the overall indicator, we are successfully implementing the strategy for BRICS Economic Partnership 2025. Namely, we are strengthening the bilateral cooperation on such areas as diversification of supply chains, de-dollarization, and transfer to local currencies in our mutual settlements, digital economy, support for small and medium enterprises, just transfer of technologies, and naturally, the active part in these processes is played by business community. A great deal of effort is invested within the BRICS Business Council and the BRICS Women's Business Alliance that the host of our meeting, President Ramaphosa, indicated. The leaders of these organizations are present at this meeting. An important priority for the BRICS interaction is the establishment of new sustainable, safe transport routes. In my address to the BRICS Business Forum, I talked about the importance of a speedy development of transcontinental routes, such as the North-South corridor that would link Russian Northern Sea and Baltic ports to sea terminals in the Gulf and in the Indian Ocean. In the future, it would ensure the annual transit of up to 30 million tons of cargo. We believe that it is high time to establish a BRICS Permanent Commission on Transport that would deal not only with the North-South project, but in broader terms, it would deal with logistics and transport corridors development, both interregional and global ones. Should the partners agree to that, the Russian side could work on this idea within its chairmanship in 2024. And certainly, we welcome strengthened interaction within BRICS in terms of global innovations. We look forward to a more active cooperation within the BRICS Global Research Advanced Infrastructure Network. It could be supported and developed by the Special Trust Fund. For its part, Russia is ready to share its experience and best practices, including when it comes to digital transformation and the use of artificial intelligence. We also seek to actively participate in the implementation of the achieved arrangements on the establishment of the Joint Working Group on Nuclear Medicine. We seek to swiftly switch into practice the work of the BRICS TVET Cooperation Alliance. We wholeheartedly support the proposal of South African colleagues to organize a separate ministerial on women affairs. Their role in political, economic, and social life of our states should definitely be enhanced. Dear colleagues, next year, Russia will assume BRICS chairmanship. Our chairmanship will have the following motto: strengthening multilateralism for just global development and security. We plan to have some 200 political, economic, and public events that will be hosted by over a dozen Russian cities. At the same time, the BRICS Summit is scheduled for October 2024. It will take place in the city of Kazan. The specific dates will be agreed upon with colleagues via diplomatic channels. We'll also have events in the format that has proved its relevance. I'm talking about BRICS Plus and BRICS Outreach. During our chairmanship, we would like to do our utmost to efficiently facilitate the implementation of decisions adopted at this summit, including with regard to the expansion of BRICS. We will coordinate closely with partners on foreign policy matters. We will jointly work on key international platforms, primarily within the United Nations. We'll continue regular meetings of BRICS national security advisors. Certainly, we will prioritize such urgent tasks as combating terrorism and the spread of terrorist ideology, as well as combating money laundering and return of assets gained by criminal means. By the way, we thank partners for their support within the Financial Action Task Force. We hope that we will keep such spirit of solidarity in the future. We will contribute to comprehensive implementation of the strategy for BRICS Economic Partnership 2025 and the development of new long-term guidelines for cooperation. This includes, in our view, increasing the role of states in international monetary and financial system, the development of interbank cooperation, expanding the use of local currencies and deepening interaction between tax, customs and anti-monopoly agencies. Naturally, Russian priorities include bolstered partnership in science and innovation, healthcare, education, the development of humanitarian ties in general. Cultural and civilizational diversity is one of the pillars of the new multipolar world order, and it means the establishment of integral free space for cultural exchange, art and creativity. As we see it, it's high time for partners within BRICS, as well as the SCO and the Community of Independent States and other countries, to have a serious conversation on the future of culture in the world, on preserving and multiplying global cultural heritage. By the way, such dialogue could be held within the 9th International Cultural Forum, which is scheduled to take place in the city of St. Petersburg from November 16th to 18th. And certainly, Russia will continue to contribute to contacts in sports and youth exchanges. Namely, in June 2024, we plan to have the BRICS Games. We would be happy to welcome teams from the BRICS nations at the next year's international competition, the Games of the Future. They will take place in the city of Kazan. This is a mix of dynamic sports and popular video games and technological devices. A good opportunity for contacts and friendly talks will be given by the World Youth Festival that will take place in March next year in the city of Sochi. In conclusion, let me once again highlight that Russia, during its chairmanship, will interact in the most constructive way with BRICS partners in order to further enhance the role and credibility of BRICS. Without any doubt, this credibility will only grow. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, President Putin, for your input in this regard. You're absolutely right that BRICS has proven itself to be a credible entity that acts in solidarity, that seeks to promote a more equitable global system. And we thank you also for the recognition of the efforts that are being made by a number of BRICS countries to bring about a peaceful end to the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. We agree that in the end, this type of conflict is best brought about to an end by negotiation, which you have said you have always been ready for. The BRICS members will continue to be supportive of various efforts to bring this conflict to an end through dialogue, mediation, and negotiation. And thank you for your thoughts also about the support that needs to be given to small, medium enterprises. That is appreciated. And the women empowerment process that needs to be enhanced. That too, we truly appreciate. And you've made comments about the reform of international financial systems. That too is a matter that the BRICS needs to be seized with. And the BRICS leaders in retreat yesterday did talk about this. and an announcement in this regard will be finalized. And the cultural advancement culminating in the BRICS Games is something that also has a great deal of resonance amongst the BRICS leaders. So thank you very much indeed. It now gives me pleasure to ask the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of the Republic of India, to take the podium. Prime Minister.
Excellency,
Rashtrapati
Ramaphosa,
President Ramaphosa,
Excellency,
Excellency
Lula da Silva,
President Lula da Silva,
Excellency, Rashtrapati Putin,
Excellency President Putin,
Excellency, Rashtrapati Xi,
Excellency President Xi,
ladies and gentlemen,
ladies and gentlemen,
15वें ब्रिक्स समिट के भव्य आयोजन
my
और हमारे आतिथ्य सत्कार के लिए
congratulations and thanks
मैं प्रिय
once
मित्र
again
राष्ट्रपति रामाफोसा
to
को
my dear
एक
friend
बार फिर से
President Ramaphosa
बहुत-बहुत बधाई
for
देता
the
हूं।
wonderful arrangements made for the organization
जोहान्सबर्ग
of the
जैसे खूबसूरत
15th
शहर में
BRICS Summit and
एक
for
बार
his
फिर आना
hospitality. It is a
मेरे
great
और मेरे
pleasure
डेलीगेशन के लिए
for me.
अत्यंत खुशी का
grande
विषय है।
prazer para mim
इस शहर का भारत के लोगों और भारत के इतिहास से पुराना गहरा संबंध है। यहां से कुछ दूर ही टॉल्स्टॉय फार्म है, जिसका निर्माण महात्मा गांधी ने
A short distance away from here is Tolstoy Farm that Mahatma Gandhi built 110 years ago. By bringing together the great philosophies of Eurasia and Africa, Mahatma Gandhi laid a strong foundation for our unity and mutual harmony. Excellencies, the last 2 decades have been a long and magnificent journey for BRICS. We have had many achievements during this journey. Our new development bank is playing an important role in the development of the countries of the global south. Through its contingency reserve arrangement, we have created a financial safety net. Through initiatives such as the BRICS satellite constellation, the vaccine R&D center, mutual recognition of pharma products, we are bringing about positive changes in the lives of ordinary citizens in BRICS countries. Through initiatives such as the Youth Summit, BRICS Games, the Think Tanks Council, we are strengthening people-to-people ties between all countries. In order to give the BRICS agenda new direction, India has given some suggestions, such as the Railway Research Network, the online BRICS database, close cooperation between MSMEs, and a startup forum. I am pleased that significant progress has been made in all these areas. Excellencies, in order to further expand our close cooperation, I would like to place before you a few suggestions. The first is cooperation in the area of space. We have already been working on a BRICS satellite constellation. Taking a step forward, we can think about creating a BRICS space exploration consortium. Under this, we can work on areas such as space research and weather monitoring for global good. My second suggestion is cooperation in the areas of education, skill development, and technology. In order to make BRICS a future-ready organization, we must make our societies future-ready. Technology can play an important role in this regard. In order to provide access to education for children living in remote and rural areas in India, we have created the Diksha platform, that is digital infrastructure for knowledge sharing. At the same time, in order to promote innovation among school children, we have created 10,000 Atal tinkering labs across the country in order to remove language barriers. An AI-based language platform, Bhashini, is being used. The CoWIN platform has been made to manage vaccinations through our digital public infrastructure, that is the India Stack. Public service delivery is being revolutionized. Diversity is one of India's greatest strengths. The solution to any problem found in India has withstood the test of this diversity, and therefore these solutions can easily be implemented in any part of the world. In this regard, we will be pleased to share with BRICS partners all these platforms developed in India. My third suggestion is that in order to identify each other's strengths, we can carry out together a skills mapping exercise. Through this, we can complement each other in the development journey. My fourth suggestion relates to big cats. In all 5 BRICS countries, various species of big cats can be found in large numbers. Under the International Big Cat Alliance, we can make joint efforts for their protection. My fifth suggestion relates to traditional medicine. All our countries have traditional medicine ecosystems. Can we together create a repository of traditional medicine? Excellencies, under South Africa's presidency, countries of the Global South have been given special importance in BRICS. We heartily welcome this. This is not just an expectation of the present times, but a necessity as well. Under its G20 presidency, India has given this subject the highest priority. Based on our core value, one earth, one family, one future, we are making efforts to move forward together with all countries. In the Voice of Global South Summit organized in January earlier this year, 125 countries participated and shared their concerns and priorities. We have also proposed permanent membership for the African Union in the G20. I am confident that all BRIC partners are also together in the G20 and that all will support our proposal. Giving a special place to all these efforts within BRICS as well will further boost the morale of countries of the Global South. Excellencies, India fully supports the expansion of BRICS membership, and we welcome moving forward on this based on consensus. In 2016, during India's presidency, we had defined BRICS as a group building responsive, inclusive, and collective solutions. 7 years later, we can say that BRICS will be breaking barriers, revitalizing economies, inspiring innovation, creating opportunities, and shaping the future. Together with all BRICS partners, we will continue to contribute actively to make this new definition meaningful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister Modi, for your very insightful remarks. Would like to particularly thank you, South Africa, for reminding us of the journey that Mahatma Gandhi started here in South Africa and what he imparted to our forebears in South Africa in the modes of struggle. He was one who was strong on resistance. He taught us passive resistance, which he perfected, and we escalated to various acts of boycotts against the apartheid system. And through that, we were able to encourage citizen activism, and organizations that were involved in our struggle, like the African National Congress and others, mobilized our people to fight against apartheid and finally to defeat it. So Mahatma Gandhi played a very important role in the history of South Africa. Thank you for reminding us. Would like to congratulate India, particularly as you speak about the need for cooperation in space. In a few hours, India's spacecraft Chandrayaan-3 will be landing on the moon. We congratulate you. This, for us as the BRICS family, is a momentous occasion, and we rejoice with you. We join you in the joy of this great achievement. But we also thank you for making the proposal that there should perhaps be a BRICS space cooperation system which can be looked at. It's a very forward-looking proposal. And your proposals on the development of skills is something that we appreciate and has great support amongst all of us. And thank you very much for also mentioning the issue about big cats. We were pleased as South Africa to donate cheetahs to India, and you informed me that the cheetahs arrived well and they are alive in India. And I told you that we are willing and prepared to donate even more because you are a country that takes care of big cats. So we thank you for that. So should you need more cheetahs, you've come to the home of cheetahs. On the issue of traditional medicines repository, we have a very big community of people who are involved in traditional medicine here in South Africa. So we're willing to cooperate, and I'm sure the same obtains with all other members of BRICS. And this you will find great support for amongst all of us to create a traditional medicines repository. So that would be good to heal all the ailments. We should not just continue being dependent on Western medicines. We should be also dependent on our own traditional medicines. We appreciate your focus on the Global South and also for having had this meeting of 125 countries participating. The Global South should now continue to be our area of focus, and we appreciate that. We want to wish you well as you continue to prepare to host the G20 Summit, at which you have invited us. and we will surely participate. And we are heartened to hear that India supports the expansion of BRICS. This is a matter that we are discussing, and hopefully we will find a clear solution to this matter as we discuss it amongst ourselves as BRICS leaders. So we thank you very much. My honor now to call on His Excellency President Xi Jinping to take the floor and address us. President Xi Jinping.
尊敬的
Your
拉马福萨
Excellency
总统，
President Cyril Ramaphosa,
尊敬的卢拉总统，
Your Excellency President Lula da
尊
Silva,
敬的普京总统
Your， Excellency President Vladimir Putin,
尊敬的
Your
莫迪总
Excellency
理。
Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
当今世界正在经历
We
大
gather
调
at a
整、
time
大
when
分
the
化，
world is undergoing major shifts, division, and
进
regrouping.
入新的动荡
It
变
has
革期。
entered a new period of turbulence and
金砖国
transformation.
家要坚守联
We,
合
the
自
BRICS
强的
countries,
初心，
should always bear in mind our founding
强化
purpose
责任担
of
当，
strengthening ourselves through
加强
unity,
各领域合作，
act on a strong sense of responsibility,
高质量
enhance
伙伴
cooperation
关系，
across the board, and promote
为
high-quality
变乱交
development
织的世界
so as to bring to
注
the
入
world
更多确
more
定性、
certainty,
稳定性、
stability,
正能量。
and positive energy.
我们要深化经贸、
We should
财
deepen
经合作，
business and financial
助力经济
cooperation
发展。
to boost economic growth.
发展是各国不可剥夺的权
Development
利，
is an inalienable right
不
of all
是少数
countries.
国家的专利。
It is not a privilege reserved
当
for a
前
few.
世界经济
The
复
world
苏
economic
势
recovery
头不稳，
remains shaky,
国际机构预测
with less than
今年世界经济
3% of
增长
growth
不
for the
足
year,
3%。
as estimated by some international
发展中国
institutions.
家面临的挑战，
Challenges
更
for
为严
developing
峻。
countries are even more
实现可
formidable,
持续发展目标
hampering
任
their
重道
efforts
远。
to realize the sustainable development
金砖
goals.
国家要做发
We
展
BRICS
振兴道
countries
路上的
should be
同
fellow
行者。
companions on the journey of development and
反对
revitalization,
脱钩
and
断
oppose
裂
decoupling and supply
经
chains
济
disruption,
胁迫，
as well as economic coercion.
要聚焦务实合作，
We should focus on
特
practical
别是数字经
cooperation,
济、
particularly
绿
in
色发
such
展、
fields as digital
供应
economy,
链
green
等领
development,
域，
and supply chain,
促进经贸和财经
and
领
bolster
域往来
economic, trade, and financial
交流。
exchanges.
中国将设立
China
中国
will set up
金砖国家
a
新
China
时代科
BRICS
技孵化园，
Science and Innovation Incubation
为
Park
科技创新
for the
成
new
果
era
转化
to
提供
support
支
the
撑，
deployment of innovation results.
依托金砖国家
Under
遥
the
感卫星
BRICS
星座
remote
合
sensing
作机制，
satellite constellation mechanism,
探索建立
we will explore
金砖国
the
家全
establishment
球
of a
遥
BRICS
感卫星
global
数
remote
据
sensing satellite
与应用
data and
合作平
application
台，
cooperation platform
为各国农业、
to provide
生
data
态、
support
减
for
灾等领域发
agriculture,
展
ecological
数据支
conservation,
持。
and disaster reduction in various countries.
中方愿同各方共建
China will also work
金
with
砖
all
国家可
parties
持续
to
产
jointly
业交流合
establish
作机
a
制，
BRICS framework on industrial
为落实
cooperation
联合
for
国
sustainable
2030
development.
年可
As
持
a
续发展
platform
议
of
程
industrial coordination
提
and
供产业
project
对接
cooperation
和
in
项目合
implementing
作
the
平台。
United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development.
我们要拓展政治安全合作，
We should expand political
维
and
护
security
和平安
cooperation
宁。
to uphold peace and tranquility.
当前冷战思维、
The Cold War
阴魂不
mentality
散，
is still haunting our world,
地缘政治形势严
and
峻。
the geopolitical situation is getting
金砖
tense.
国家要坚持和平发展的
BRICS
大方向，
countries should keep to the direction of
巩固
peaceful
金砖国
development
家战略伙伴关
and
系，
consolidate the BRICS strategic
要用
partnership.
好金砖国家
We need to make
外
good
长
use
会晤
of the BRICS Foreign Ministers
安
meeting,
全事务高级代表会议
the meeting of
机制
high representatives on national security
在
and
涉及
other
彼此核心
mechanisms
利益的问题上
support
相
each
互
other
支持，
on issues concerning our
就重
respective
大国
core
际和地区
interests
问题加强协调，
and enhance coordination on major international and
要
regional
积极
issues.
斡旋热点问题，
We need to tender good
推动
offices
政
on
治
hotspot
解决，
issues, pushing for
给
political
热点
settlement
问题
and lowering
降
the
温
temperature.
去火。人工智能是人类发展新领域，
Artificial intelligence
既
is
能
a
带
new
来巨
frontier
大发
of
展红
development.
利，也
It may
蕴含着
generate enormous
风险
development
挑战。
dividends, but also harbors
5国已
risks
经
and
同意
challenges.
尽快启动人
Our
工
five
智能
countries have
研究
agreed
组
to
工
launch
作，
the AI study group of BRICS
要充分
Institute
发
of
挥研
Future
究组作
Networks
用，
at an early date.
进一步拓展
We need to
人工
enable
智
the
能
study
合
group
作，
to play its
加
full
强信
role,
息交流
further
和
expand
技术合
cooperation on
作，
AI, and step up
共
information
同做好
exchange
风
and
险
technological
防范，
cooperation. We
推
need to
动建
jointly
立普
fend
遍
off
参与
risks
的
and
国际
develop
机制，
AI governance frameworks and
形成
standards
具有
with
广泛
broad-based
共识
consensus.
的人工智能治理框架和标准规范，
So as to
不断提升人工
make
智能技
AI
术的
technologies
安全性、
more
可靠
secure,
性、可控
reliable,
性、公平
controllable,
性。
and equitable.
我们要加强人文交流，促
We
进
should
文明
increase
互鉴，
people-to-people exchanges and
文
promote
明多彩
mutual
多姿，
learning between civilizations.
发展道路多
There are
元
many
多样，
civilizations and development
这是
paths in
世
the
界
world,
应有的样子。
and this is how the world should be.
人类历史不会终结于
Human
一
history
种
will
文
not
明。
end with
一种
a
制度
particular civilization or system.
金砖国家要弘扬海纳百川的精
BRICS
神，
countries need to champion the
倡
spirit
导不
of
同和平共
inclusiveness
处，
and
文明和平
advocate
共处，
peaceful coexistence and
和和
harmony
共生。
between civilizations.
要尊重各国自主选择
We
的
should
现代化
respect
道路，
all modernization
反
paths
对
that each
意识
country
形态对立、
chooses on its own,
制度对
and
抗、
oppose ideological rivalry,
文明冲突。
systemic confrontation, and clash of civilizations.
要用好金砖国家治国理政研讨
We
会、
need to make good use of such
人文交
mechanisms
流论坛、
as the BRICS Seminar on
女
Governance,
性创新
the
大
BRICS
赛
Forum
等
on
机制，
people-to-people and culture exchanges,
深化人文
and the
交流，
Women Innovation
增进
Contest
民
to
心
deepen
相通。
people-to-people exchanges and strengthen the bond between our
中方
peoples.
提议，
China would like
金
to
砖国家
propose
拓展教
that
育领
BRICS
域合
countries
作，
expand cooperation on
发挥
education,
好职业教育联
enhance the
盟作
role
用，
of the BRICS Alliance for
探索
vocational
建立
education,
数字教育合作
explore
机
and
制，
set up a cooperation
打
mechanism
造
on
全方
digital
位
education,
教育合作格局，
and foster a paradigm of all-round
同
cooperation on
时加
education.
强传统文化交
In
流，
addition, we also need to
促进
strengthen
优秀
exchanges
传
on
统文
traditional
化
cultures
传承和
and
创新。
promote the renewal of the fine traditional cultures.
我们要坚持公平正义，
We should
完
uphold
善全球
fairness
治
and
理，
justice and improve global
加
governance.
强全球治理是国际社会共享发展机遇，
Strengthening global
应
governance
对
is the
全
right
球性
choice
挑战的
if the international
正确
community
选
intends to
择。
share development opportunities and tackle
国际
global
规则
challenges.
要依据联合国宪章
International
宗旨和
rules
原则，
must be written and
由大
upheld
家共
jointly
同书写，
by all countries,
共同维护，
based on the purposes and principles
不
of
能
the
谁的胳
UN
膊粗，
Charter,
嗓门大，
rather than
谁就说了算，
dictated by those with the strongest muscles
更不
or the
能
loudest
拉帮
voice.
结派，把自己
Ganging
的
up
家法
to
帮
form
规
exclusive
包
groups
装成
and packaging their own rules as international norms are even
金砖
more
国家要
unacceptable.
践行真正的多边主义，
BRICS countries should
坚持
practice
团
true
结，
multilateralism,
反对分裂，维护以
stick
联
to
合国为核
solidarity
心的
and oppose
国际
division,
体系，
uphold
支
the
持并加强
UN-centered
以世贸
international
组织为核
system,
心的多边
support
贸易
and
体制，
strengthen the WTO-centered
反
multilateral
对小
trading
圈子、
system,
小集团，
and reject the attempt to create small
要
circles
充分
or
发挥
exclusive blocks.
新开发银行的作
We
用，
need to fully leverage the
推
role
动
of
国
the
际
new
金融货
development
币
bank,
体系改革，
push forward reform
提
of
升
the
发展中国
international
家的代
financial
表性，
and monetary
发
systems,
言
increase the voice of developing
我高兴
countries.
地看到
I am
发
glad to
展中
see
国家参与
the
金砖
growing
合作的
enthusiasm of
热情
developing
高涨，
countries about
很
BRICS,
多发展中国家
about
申请加入
participating in BRICS
金砖
cooperation,
合作机制。
and quite a number of them have applied
我
to
们要
join the
用
BRICS
好
cooperation mechanism.
金砖加合作，
We need to make good use
加
of
速
the BRICS Plus
扩员进
cooperation
程，
format and
让更
accelerate
多
the
国家
BRICS
加
expansion
入
process
到
to
金
bring
砖大
more
家庭，
countries into the BRICS
集
family
众志，
so as
汇
to
群力，
pool our strengths, pool
推
our
动
wisdom
全球治理朝着
to
更
make
加
global
公正合理
governance
的
more
方向
just
发展。
and equitable.
各位同事，
Colleagues,
中国古人说
as an ancient Chinese saying goes,
谋度于义者必
designs
得
for justice prevail
事因于民者
and acts
必
for the
成。
benefit of the people succeed.
金砖事业秉持国际
The
道
cause
义，
of BRICS champions
造福
international
我国人
justice
民，
and benefits the
必
peoples
将
of our 5
行稳
countries.
致远，
It will grow
为
steady and
促进
strong
世界和平和发展。
and make
做出
greater contributions
更大的
to
贡献。
world peace and development.
我说完了，谢谢大家。
Thank you.
Thank you, President Xi Jinping, for those insightful words. Yes, indeed, the world has entered a new period of turbulence, and you call upon BRICS to play an important role, notwithstanding this turbulence that the world is going through, and that the BRICS family should remain united, but more importantly, should be ready to play a key role in helping to stabilize the world. And you mentioned a very important point about development, that it is not a privilege of a few. Development should be spread around so that all can benefit. And you mentioned a number of areas in which there should be development: in science, technological advancement, in innovation. And we thank you also for the offer to set up a BRICS remote data center that will help to advance the technological and innovative capability of BRICS countries, as well as developing a framework for implementing the SDGs. We thank you for that. And much as you say, the Cold War mentality continues to haunt the world, that the BRICS countries should stand on the side of peace. I think we support that, and we support the message you put forward that we should support each other on our core interests, the areas that each one of us in BRICS focus on. And artificial intelligence is a new frontier that we need to focus on, but we should also have governance of artificial intelligence, and it should be reliable and secure. And another important aspect is the people-to-people contact that we should underpin our unity in the BRICS around, and that there should be respect for the modernization paths that countries have opted for. So we thank you for that. And there should not be
Introducing India's first and only smart grid mattress. This mattress gives you softness
and also must promote traditional cultures. That too, we should say we appreciate. And yes, President Xi, you are in full support of the expansion of BRICS, as has been articulated by all BRICS members, that we stand at the cusp of expanding the BRICS family, because it is through this expansion that we will be able to have a much stronger BRICS in these turbulent times that we live in. So we await the decision that will be taken by the BRICS leaders in this regard in due course as we go on with our summit. We've now reached a stage where we now want to give the media an opportunity, as they often ask for, that once they've done quite a bit of work, they want to go and rest. So we want to give the media an opportunity to go and rest. I don't know what they do when they go to rest, whether they have a siesta or whether they go and have tea, but we want to give them that opportunity. But they can be rest assured we will continue with our work because we are committed to doing so. We are mindful of their wishes and their interests, so we will pause for a while and give them an opportunity to leave us, to go and rest, and then we will continue with our meeting. So we pause just for a while to allow the media to go and do what they do best when they have an opportunity to be resting. So media people, thank you very much for being here. You may take your leave.